Hello there, guys. Welcome back to my channel. And welcome to Depression FC, where everything is slower than a flipping snail. Bloody hell. Do you know how annoyed I am? It's already past pre-season, and we still haven't signed anyone. And somehow Pice has now become the more sensible of us two. How's that happen? I have no idea. Pice giving everyone a week more. I'm like, okay. Give him a week more. And I'm like, okay, Pice makes a point. Fair enough, fair enough. And then the next second, I'm fuming again when I think of the fact that we still haven't signed anyone. Then I hear we're considering Ronaldo. Sorry. Well, you can talk about Ronaldo in August, right? When we've signed 17 other players and our squad is absolutely incredible, then we can think about adding luxury players like Ronaldo, right? Then you can talk about that. Not before, right? And then I hear Sterling wants a pay rise when he's already on 300k at Man City. I'm like, okay, it's only Sky Sports, fair enough. But if it is true, I'm like, well, he's never getting that at Chelsea. So that means he's not coming to Chelsea if it's true, right? Then I also hear Bayern Munich want De Ligt, and De Ligt actually wants that more than he wants to come to Chelsea. Now, we've also heard since then that is maybe not quite so the case. So, but still, too many things come out that are just annoying and pissing me off. And if we were just quicker, all these stupid media outlets wouldn't even have the time to release stupid reports because we would have already signed the players. So can we please, for the love of God, get a move on? Like, sorry, we're already back in pre-season. Like, I know only the players that were on international duty after the season, but still, come on now. We need to get a move on. It's July, and we haven't even signed one. Like, I never expected us to have signed 5-6 players by now. Of course not. But I thought maybe one or two. And like, I mean, Pi said, to be fair, we're quite close to Sterling. I'm like, that is fair, but we've been close to Sterling for about 3 weeks now, man. I'm getting a little bit annoyed here. I'm telling you, but I'm also incredibly excited to be back streaming with my boys here. I've just recovered from the Rona, so I'm glad with that as well. But let me start with you, Pice. I just kind of half spoke about you for the last 2 minutes anyway, so I might as well just start with you. First of all, thank you for being here as always. And who would have thought that at some point I'm the one more annoyed than you, and you're the sensible one? Who would have seen that coming?
Oh yeah, good to be back. For me, I just think it's because like with the Sterling situation, especially, I feel like it is like really close. It's not like we're just getting told, oh, they're still negotiating. Like I'm pretty sure it's on final details now, like add-ons. Maybe there was a report that he's selling his house in Manchester, so whenever that happens, you're about to move. So yeah, I think this one will probably be done by the middle of the week. I reckon. I think then towards the late end of the week, I think maybe a centre back. I know we're going to talk about De Ligt, but yeah, we need minimum 2 players, I think, before the squad fly out on Saturday. Because when I'll start hitting the panic button is if the squad are in the United States, all the main players are back, and we still ain't got players in. At that point, your pre-season starts getting messed up in terms of adaptation, in terms of what the manager might want to do in terms of formation, especially. So, yeah, ideally we have players in by now. It's just like I don't know. I'm kind of holding off because I do get the sense that they are working hard. Like it's not like we're not hearing stuff. Like it's constant. Like we've talked to this today. We've done this today. Like it, stuff's happening. It's just like now it's about execution, and I think this week will hopefully be that week. And I know it's ironic because everyone's like, well, you said that last week, you said that the week before, but the longer it drags on, like
The more likely it is to be that week.
yeah, like stuff is obviously going to happen. It's not like we're not going to sign players. So it's like I'm just trying to be as calm as possible. But make no mistake about it. If there's not players, by the time we fly out or they don't join up very quickly with the squad, then I will be pissed off. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the one thing, like whether they fly out with the team or not, what I want is by the time we play, what team is the one we play first?
It's Club America, which is actually not until the week after we fly out. So it's 2 weeks until the
16th,
first
isn't
game.
it? We play those.
And fly out on the 9th. Yeah.
There you go. So if by the time we play Club America on the 16th, whoever we're signing, they better be in the squad and actually ready to play. Because you know what I can't be having? If we're going to be announcing players on like the 14th or something, and then they're not even playing in the first friendly, I can already see it coming and I'll already be annoyed. But be like Gagini is how I'm going to pronounce your name. Probably butchered it. But, if I butchered it, just say that's how I say it. It's fine. But be like him. Or her. I'm not 100% sure. But be like them. And become a member. There's a join button underneath. And subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. and smash the like button. And please also follow all of my wonderful guests on their socials and check out Pice's website. Links are all down in the description. And thank you, Cranky Pens. I appreciate it very much. Con, thank you for being back on. We have heard that you've already been losing your mind on all sorts of places today. Is the main reason why you're losing your mind Ronaldo, or is the main reason why you're losing your mind because we still haven't signed anybody?
It's an accumulation of things, bro. When I'm not seeing any players coming through the door, and then I'm seeing ridiculous stuff saying Todd Boehly is going to ask Tuchel about Ronaldo. Like, what am I seeing, man? Stop wasting your time with that nonsense. We don't want Ronaldo. You said it perfectly at the beginning. He's a luxury player. We're not right at the time to sign luxury players, man. Why are we wasting our time with that? We got De Ligt, who's getting chased by Bayern now. We have got this Raphinha situation all up in the air. We still need to get Sterling through the door, and that's only half the players we need to get in. So stop wasting the time on Ronaldo. I don't want to see stuff about Ronaldo, man. I don't. I know people say he's my GOAT and all that. No, I don't care. System over players for me. You have to fit this system, And if you don't, I don't care who you are.
The GOAT.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So I'm a bit annoyed, but I'm trying my best to stay optimistic and positive, Lawrence, as always.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, Con is usually last time you was on, Con, you were the one that was optimistic and you was telling me you need to be more positive. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. But I do appreciate it. And we'll talk about Ronaldo in a second. Clutch, though, thank you for being on. All the time, of course, hope you're well. Similar question to the boys, really. And I hope you guys can hear me because my internet is apparently not quite, or connection is apparently not great right now, so I hope you can hear me. But how are you feeling about everything at the moment? Are you just annoyed that things are too slow? Are you happy because we're at least close to some players? Or are you annoyed because of the type of players we're linked with? Like, what exactly is your feelings at the moment?
I think for me, it's a little bit of a mix of everything. We lost 2 defenders and we're only halfway through negotiating one of them. There's a lot of things that I think we need to address, and we're still trying to get Ronaldo, like Con said. Like, he's just a luxury player. He's a great player, very, very good. Nobody should ever doubt that. But he's not going to be a type of player that's going to fit the system, and he's not going to press like you want him to do. And quite frankly, he's probably not going to do what Tuchel wants him to do. I mean, Ronaldo's arrogant. That's the type of person he is, which is fine because of how good he is, but that's just not what you want at the club, right? So when you talk about, like, all these players we're linked to, so I seen somebody say, Con, you want Sterling over Ronaldo. I want Sterling over Ronaldo. He's not a better player, but he makes more sense within the terms of he's probably going to press. He's probably going to do things Tuchel's going to ask him to do. Now, if he doesn't, that's a different conversation.
And he's not going to tell his teammates to stop having dessert.
Exactly. I think there's going to be a lot of problems with Ronaldo if we get him. Like, he's a great player, don't get me wrong. And Messi, who is my GOAT, I wouldn't want Messi either. Trust me. It's not just because it's Ronaldo. I think these are players that we need to stay away from. We need system players. But I'm a little bit annoyed, like you guys said, because we do need players within. It's a week. A week is a short time to get a lot of things that we need to get done. And but quite honestly, I'm just looking forward to preseason because I think we need to sort a lot of things out. But I still just want to watch Chelsea. That's all I really want to do.
Fair. Before we get into the Ronaldo topic, just to also give a few more people the chance to join us, and we talk about something else first, which I'm arguably more annoyed about, but it's less interesting. Pice, let me get back to you. The whole Raphinha, which I've realized I've been spelling his name wrong all the time recently. I didn't realize there were 2 H's, but I now know there's 2 H's in his name, so maybe that's why I didn't come. Sorry, mate. But yeah, so I kind of feel at this point, we're getting slightly ridiculed by Barcelona. That is ridiculous. Like, what are we, Tottenham? Like, we have songs about Tottenham, like William, didn't want to go to Tottenham, came to us instead. Barcelona doing that to us, and I know Barcelona are a big entity, and I understand that. We all know that probably most players that are not English that Chelsea Football Club will ever sign will probably have more of an idolization for Barcelona and Real Madrid than Chelsea. That's just what it is. You can't change history. That's just life, right? But what I'm not a fan of is us not being aware that when we're trying to sign a player, that Barcelona are also trying to sign that player. And then us looking like mugs because we don't even pull our bid out. Because the fact that we haven't pulled our bid out tells me that we still have hope. Number one, that we can get it done. I don't know if that's depending on Barcelona not being able to spend as much as they want to spend, or whether that's us hoping that we can change Raphinha's mind. I don't know what the idea behind it is, but I'm like, Raphinha is good, but he ain't worth getting embarrassed over. And I think we're getting slightly embarrassed here. And I'm not sure how valid these reports were, but I even heard stuff like Raphinha might come and Dembele might stay. Because what I didn't initially mind so much when the whole Barcelona Raphinha stuff came out, I was like, well, if they were Raphinha, just means we can get Dembele. And I want him more anyway. So not really too fast. But when I then heard Dembele might stay and they will get Raphinha, then I'm like, what the flip is going on now? This is getting silly. So, Pice, number one, please tell me whether those are what I said is factually correct according to reports, and then add your opinion to it as well, mate.
Yeah, no, it's true. Barca want to get both. They want to keep Dembele. They want to sign Raphinha. But the reason why I'm defending the club a little bit more is because we broadly agreed personal terms with him, and Barca only started trying to sign him when Deco and Raphinha started pushing for Barca. So for me, it's more blame on Raphinha, because why agree personal terms with us and then be like, oh, wait a minute, let's see if Barca can do something. Like, if you didn't give us that indication in the first place, Chelsea aren't going to bid. They weren't in active negotiations until we agreed a fee with Leeds, and then he decided, oh, wait, let's see if Barca can do anything. Like, that's not the club's fault, in my opinion, Laurenz. That's Raphinha's fault. Like, why
I
is
agree
he,
with
like,
that, but don't you think that it's part of scouting to know how badly a player wants to join you? And then if you know that Barcelona is like his
but
big
he's
team,
open
right?
to joining us,
that,
right? But he's open
sorry?
to joining us. He's
No,
supposedly
I'm sure
open
he
to
is.
joining us.
I'm not saying he hates us, of course not. But if his big dream is Barcelona, and surely shouldn't we be finding out first if Barcelona might come in for him? Because if they do, we should just stop wasting our time with players that would prefer than another club that's interested in them to us. Because to me, that's just us wasting time.
I don't think they intended to. I think the president said that, like, we're trying to sort something out because Raphinha really wants to come. I mean, if that's the case, then let him go. I feel like Chelsea won't wait around much longer. I don't think. I really don't. But yeah, I don't know really what to think, because he's supposedly wouldn't mind joining us. So then, like,
That's fair though.
If
I
he
also
wants
agree
to,
with Max's comment here. Raphinha changed his mind. What kind of? I agree with that. Fair
that's
enough.
what it seems like. That's what it
But then
seems like.
pull
Why
out.
would you?
Don't leave the bid in. And I think that's what we're getting mugged off a little bit.
But then, a lot of people are saying, well, if we pull out, then Barca have bullied us, or is it just us being sensible? Because, you know, why wait for a player that is waiting for Barca?
Like Barca are bullying us already anyway. So what difference is that going to make?
But they're trying to bully us by making us pull out. It's kind of, I can't remember. Fabrizio said it. It's like it's a game of who pulls out first, who's going to give up first. Because, like, the thing is though, the reason why I want us to pull out is because we don't know what Barca can actually afford when they can afford it. They've got these economic levers coming in. Their president said that the second economic lever will help them spend a bit more on the market. But it's like, if you're Chelsea, we've got so much to do. You can't wait for that. Or can you? Can you just leave the bid in and work on others? Like, but at the same time, with what we've been hearing, I don't want him here now because he wants Barca so badly. But then, I'm sorry, no matter what you think of Todd Boehly, they wouldn't agree a fee with Leeds if there wasn't some sort of indication that Raphinha would like to come to Chelsea. That's not how it works. I refuse to believe they would do that.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So for me, obviously I'm not Raphinha, but for me, it seems like he's drastically changed his mind. And to be honest with you,
or he just wasn't aware that Barca would have the money, and then they told him actually we might.
The Barca reporters are doing my head in as well. They're so biased, so biased. They're like Raphinha's house hunting and all that bollocks. It's like, no, he's just on holiday, being a clown, waiting to see what happens. It's like, what do we do? What do we do in this situation? Because either way, we've lost. If he comes, then, you know, the fans are going to be wanting performances even more so straight away now. And if we pull out, then it's like, well, Barca have bullied us. Look at Chelsea. They took the L, ha, ha, ha. So it's like, what do we do?
Interesting. Now I'm thinking if we should just bully Barcelona back. And like,
see, I kind of disagree.
Leave that bid in until August. Sorry, give it to you in a second, Con. Leave the bid in until August. Even give Raphinha a stupid offer, 200k, and then make him wait to sign, and then actually pull out on the last day. Barcelona in the mud, Raphinha in the mud, everyone's in the mud. That'd be funny. But Con, what were you going to say?
I kind of disagree with what you both say now. I reckon we leave the bid in. I think it's natural for a player to explore his options. I feel this time we're just getting it leaked to the media. This stuff might happen all the time when it comes to transfers, but we just don't hear about it. I feel like if Barca had the money to pay for him, Leeds and Barca agree a deal by now. And I feel like with Leeds, because they're close to
I
signing
agree with
or
that.
they're working a deal, I can't remember the guy's name, but that winger they're looking to bring in, they're going to be putting even more pressure on Raphinha now because they're going to want to get that deal done. So if he's still open to joining Chelsea, which I believe he is, because otherwise he would have turned, would be pulled out because he'd say no. He said I don't want to join Chelsea, but it's still an option for him. So I reckon we could still land him. To be honest, I generally do, and I still have no issues with taking a player who prefers someone else because we've had so many players like that. We've had Cesc Fabregas, we've had even Kai Havertz. Would Kai Havertz have joined us if it weren't for COVID? Probably not. Real Madrid really liked him. He really liked Real Madrid. So it happens all the time in football. It does. And I don't see why we should be bullied by the Spanish media and just withdraw because they're saying it's 98% done. Well, you're broke, Barcelona. How's it 98% done? There's the 2% you're leaving out, the fee you got to give to Leeds. Because in my opinion, it's a big percentage you're leaving out there, you know? So I don't want to be bullied by Spanish media. We leave it in. If they can pay it and match it, fairs. But they can't sign Raphinha as of right now if they can't match our bid. Otherwise,
How long do you give Raphinha for a
Yeah,
decision then?
that's what I was
Because
going to
like
wait. Because
if Barca
Barcelona
keeps
is
it
one thing, and the
like
Spanish media is one other thing.
if
But
they keep sending in
they're not
messages,
doing anything. Rafinha is the guy that's stalling us.
yeah, if they keep,
Like, we
but
complain the Spanish media all we want. Rafinha
you
is the guy that could just say yes and it's done.
Barca will be sending Raphinha messages like, wait, we're gonna get this, we're gonna do that, da 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 da. Like that will put doubts in his mind as well. So then Chelsea will be pressuring Raphinha, but then he obviously wants to go to Barca for first priority. So how long do you actually wait for this, Con? Is my
well,
question.
the thing is, like, we got De Ligt to do, we got Sterling to do. So focus on getting them through the door. Leave that bid there for Raphinha while you focus on these two. I think they should be priority right now. De Ligt would be massive for Chelsea. I think Sterling's it would be a great signing. You work on those two, give it a good few more days at least. There's no reason to rush, you know. I feel like we want it done so quickly because how quickly Chelsea said, "Oh, here's the money to Leeds," and we agreed with them so quickly, and that's probably why we've grown a bit impatient with it. But right now, I feel like we don't have to rush as much, and then let Leeds carry on with this guy they're trying to bring in. They're going to obviously put pressure on Raphinha, and then in the next like week or so, if he doesn't want to join, still cool. That's when we pull out. When we have,
Okay,
you
so
know, when we
like
finish
a
doing what
week
we're doing.
type thing, but you're
Yeah,
not like
yeah.
willing to wait, I don't know, until August.
Well, yeah, ideally not. Ideally not. But at the end
I
of the
hear
day,
you.
I think Chelsea are smart too. I don't think they're going to just keep their bidding if they feel like there's no chance of landing this guy either. So we got to give these guys a bit more credit than just thinking, oh, we should pull out. I don't know, man. I just don't think this is a
Mate, I
foregone
think
conclusion yet.
you're 100% right. That I think that the only reason they must still be keeping the bid in is because they think so, that they can still pull it off. And then it's just a difference of opinion between yourself and Pies, and I'm kind of in the middle where I'm not
And
sure.
you do have to remember, bro, Deco isn't just Raphinha's agent. He's also an employee of Barcelona. He's a scout for Barcelona, bro. So
Yeah,
you're not
he's an
just dealing with
ex-Chelsea
his
player,
agent.
and I want him in the mud. Why is that?
So it's like
Taking Barcelona
the,
over us. Come on, you
I
little
reckon
chubby
there's
little face.
the bias there, but for Raphinha, I think it was reported today. I think it was Ben Jacobs who said he would still prefer Chelsea over Leeds. And if that ultimatum came where it says Barcelona can't afford you and Leeds, they're not going to wait around to August, bro. I think that's what people need to take into account because they're going to want to do their business. Raphinha and Calvin Phillips are their two best players. So they're going to want to use that money to reinvest into the squad. So they're not going to be waiting around. They're going to be putting pressure on Raphinha. And they might turn around and say, you know what, if you don't go to Chelsea, we're not selling you for that price. You're staying another season. And Raphinha doesn't want that. He'd prefer Chelsea. So I don't think there's a need to rush. Obviously, don't let it get to a place where you've taken all summer doing it. But as of right now, I think we can relax a little bit and just see what happens.
I don't know about if he'd prefer Chelsea over Leeds because if he wants Barca that much, then he'll stay at Leeds. It's just what you believe in the media, right? It's what reports you believe. He could easily stay
But
there until January and sort of do an agreement. Barca could bid when they have more money. It's about how what do you believe? Does he want Barca this much? Like as much as some
and
of
then
these
it's also about
journalists
what
are saying.
Barcelona do instead. Like, say they don't get him, do they try to sign another winger that's cheaper, or do they wait for him?
Yeah. Interesting though, it's the Spanish reporters that are pushing this whole he'd just prefer to stay at Leeds instead of going to Chelsea. Like, we don't know if that's actually true. Like,
I
no
hadn't even seen
Chelsea
that.
journalists.
That he
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
preferred Leeds.
Yeah,
and that's the
bro,
thing,
they're,
guys,
they're
as
all
well,
saying
bro.
it. They're all saying it.
We've seen the David Ornsteins, the Matt Laws, the Ben Jay, like these guys are really, really good. So when it comes to like what Raphinha would prefer, I would tend to go with the English side of the media because he's a player who plays in England. You know, like, and the Spanish media just as a whole was ridiculous. Like, I
You
saw
know,
one thing about Lewandowski saying, "I can't wait to train under Xavi." Like, what sort of PR is that? Like, what are you talking about?
yeah, I think this is also, by the way, I think this is actually worse because we've found out that we've agreed a fee. It's not like, like, say we agreed a fee with Leeds, right? And in the report it said Raphinha had been understood to, like, been waiting a few days. He would have preferred Barca, but has now accepted Chelsea. That's fine. Like, people will still have their debates over that. Like, oh, should we really have this player? But now we've actually agreed a fee and it's like we're waiting for him. I think it's different. If you don't find out about the fee, it's not as bad, because, like you said, he could just be taking to sign, time over his decision.
But don't you
But then
always
don't
find
agree a
out when a
fee.
fee has been agreed with the other club, though? Like these days, like obviously 10 years ago you didn't, but nowadays, I feel like like, if as soon as you're a club remotely the size of Chelsea, we find out about every fee that we agree with anyone.
No, but what I mean though is don't agree a fee before
Yeah, okay.
finding out. Like, ask Raphinha, like, I mean, it's weird because they're not going to go to him and be like, "Oh yeah, we want you, but we've heard you want Barca." Like, you have to do it like in a smart negotiation tactic. But maybe speak to his agent Deco and see what his future plans are before you then agree a fee. But
But
now
that's
we've agreed
probably
a
half
fee.
the problem. That we spoke to
Yeah,
Deco. Deco then told Barcelona, listen, these men over here, Chelsea, these are actually like on the horses and trying to get this shit done. But so you need to get your finger out your butt. And then Raphinha is like, oh, I want to go to Barcelona, but they can't afford me. So what the flip do I do? And then we go back to what Con said. It's just a question of how long do you wait? I agree with Con. A week, I'm fine with waiting, if I'm honest. But there comes a point where it just becomes too much. But I guess we just have to wait and see how long they wait and how it plays out. At the end, all we're doing right now is only giving opinions anyway. Before I take it to clutch, let me quickly read out this comment here by Charlie. Subscribe to him as well, by the way. He said he spoke to Ben Jacobs earlier, saying he was saying the lead hierarchy were impressed with how Boehly conducted business and want to sell to Chelsea, but it's down to Raphinha. While that is good to hear, it's also Leeds. I feel like it's quite easy to impress Leeds, who haven't been in the Premier League until 2 years ago for 30 years. Like, what good have they ever negotiated with before? Do you know what I mean? I mean, probably when they last sold Rio Ferdinand and Man United. Bloody hell. But Clutch, what is your thoughts on, especially now that both Con and Pi spoke about it, potentially it has changed your mind. It's slightly changed mine. What's your thoughts on this Raphinha situation? Should we keep the bid in? How long should we keep it in for? Or do you think we should be giving Raphinha himself a deadline? Like, how do you think we should be going about things from now on?
I think Khan kind of swayed me. I was on Pius' side, but Khan's kind of swayed me, at least on the time frame. I think I'd give it a week. After a week, like, I don't care anymore. Bye. Have a good day. Like, it's just at that point, it's going to be dragging on for too long.
Don't even have a good day after a week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's where I'm sitting.
Day for all I care.
I'm not going to say that. But yeah, go have a miserable day. No, but I think that's where I'm sitting. I think if we're looking to get these players, because we want players and we want them in now, we want them to start fitting into a system, right? So we don't really have the luxury of time. And I think Chelsea, in the situation that they're in with new owners, Boehly pretty much doing all the transferring on his own, like, we're in a unique situation where things are going to be a little bit more time consuming. I think what we have to do is we have to be smart. Like, if Raphinha doesn't necessarily want us and he wants Barcelona, like, I get the where Kai Havertz would have went to Real Madrid. I get all that. Like, yeah, I understand that. But at some point you have to make a stand. Like, you can't just let this guy bully you into buying him later, because you don't know if his heart's going to be in it. It probably will. Probably. I'm not going to say it won't be, but
we're not giving anyone. Sorry to interrupt you quickly, there, Clutch. Did I hear you in the group chat one of the last few days say something about apparently he wants a Barcelona clause in a contract? Was that about Raphinha at Chelsea? Or what were you saying this about? Right?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you was talking to Clutch. Like,
No,
what do
no,
you
no.
feel-
I was interrupting
wouldn't
Clutch rudely, asking you because I swear
Alright.
you said one of the last few days something about some sort of Barcelona clause in the contract. Was that about Raphinha at Chelsea? What exactly were you talking about there? Just to clarify what I haven't.
No, I don't think I said that. Maybe I said they might do that, but I've not seen any reports about
Okay,
that.
okay. Oh, then
Yeah.
ignore me. Even more so
Uh,
rudely interrupted you then, Clutch.
We wouldn't be doing that anyway. There's no way we'd be like, unless it was like 8
No.
mil.
Of course we
probably
wouldn't be doing
like
it.
800
But
mil, but
I thought maybe
yeah,
he
no.
wants it, which is just a big no-no.
No, I've not seen anything
Okay,
about that.
fair. Go on then, Clutch.
Yeah, I think whatever we do with Raphinha, how many years we're trying to get out of him. I think a minimum of 3 is what I would want out of him. And is he going to wait 3 years to join Barcelona? What's he now? 24, 25?
25.
Leads him to be 28. Yeah, I don't think. I think he would try to go to Barcelona sooner. So I think if you give him a week and he decides, this Barcelona thing isn't going to work out, and he decides he wants to come here, fine. But after that, I'm good. I don't want him.
Fair play. Let's see how that one goes. I mean, we were talking about it in the group chat, and Con and Pice were absolutely flaming me for not being super hyped about Raphinha. And I was like, I like him as a player. He's a good player. I just think 55, 60 million is more than he is good, if that makes sense. But sometimes you just have to pay over the odds. That's just what the market is. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. I'm just saying, hold your horses a little bit. I don't think he's a £60 million player, even if we pay £60 million. Doesn't mean he won't be a good player. Just saying, I don't know. The expectations are different. Like I say, obviously the market's different and everything always changes. But Mateo Kovacic cost us 32 million. I don't think Raphinha, no matter how much we get him for, will be a better player for Chelsea than Mateo Kovacic. That's all but maybe you could just say we just got Kovacic for a really good price. Fair enough. Gagini or Cartel? I'm just going to call you Cartel, even if it confuses me because I'm thinking of Breaking Bad then. But appreciate the super sticker. If anyone else wants to go for a super sticker, please do. But let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, Lee in the chat here keeps saying that Ronaldo is in London and that he's at Oxford Street, and then someone asked him if he was going to Chelsea and he smiled. Now, I have obviously no idea whatsoever whether what Lee is saying here is true, but let's talk about this Ronaldo situation for a second. Let's talk about it because, like I said, like I called it earlier, Ronaldo is a luxury player, and maybe even that is being nice because. And I want to highlight this. Like, is what I'm going to say now all Ronaldo's fault? No, of course it isn't. But it's just, in my opinion, too big of a coincidence on 2 separate occasions that Ronaldo joins and shit completely hits the fan at the club. That it's nothing to do with Ronaldo. I'm not saying he's the only reason. I'm not even saying he's the main reason. But he has to be one of the reasons. Otherwise, this is ridiculous coincidence. And he's a very unlucky man because he's ruining his own, essentially, reputation.
Legacy is the word you're looking for.
Maybe not legacy because that's just his goals, really. But at least a reputation, right? Now, when I heard he's willing to take a pay cut, that makes everything a lot more a bit more. If something needs to be done and I can't control it, at least that way is better. But my initial reaction to when Chelsea considering Cristiano Ronaldo, and my initial reaction was like, well, I thought we're listening to Tuchel, and no chance on hell will Thomas Tuchel want Cristiano Ronaldo, because to me, Ronaldo would just come with the identical problems that Lukaku came with. I know they're not the same players, but in my opinion, they come with the same problems at Chelsea. Just Ronaldo accentrified to even more, because he's a much bigger personality than Lukaku. And, I made that joke earlier. He's not going to allow the rest of the team to eat dessert. And while that was a joke to some extent, players, and of course it's actually better for the human body to not eat dessert, but not everyone can hack that. Ronaldo can hack that. That's why Ronaldo is one of the top, let's say 5 greatest ever footballers. Ever. Not just this generation. Ever. Because he can hack that. But not everyone can hack that. And a team is not just about being physically at their very best. A team needs to be good. People's mental health is important. People's relationships are important. So many things are important. You can't just not eat dessert and think everything's going to be okay. Do you know what I mean? And in my opinion, the biggest myth about Cristiano Ronaldo is Cristiano Ronaldo being a leader. Cristiano Ronaldo is a leader when he cares about shit. But who's to say that he's going to care about shit? He's the leader.
Remember when he threw the armband down with like 2 minutes to go? Remember that?
Yeah, but I think that wasn't that in reaction because the referee gave an outrageous, clear goal. Didn't give that.
I don't know. Still probably
I'm pretty
isn't
sure
something you should be doing.
It was some sort of game that they didn't have VAR in, and the ball was clearly over the line, but they didn't give it, and he was absolutely fuming. Now, is it the correct thing to throw the armband around? No, but I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo clearly loves Portugal, so I don't think it was disrespect to Portugal. But still, I feel like I'm not sure about this leader thing of Ronaldo. I feel like even at Real Madrid, like he was winning everything for them, of course, but he wasn't the leader there. Like earlier in the career, it was Casillas, then it was Ramos, Pepe. Like all these players are way more leaders. Benzema, way more leaders than Cristiano Ronaldo is in terms of leaders and getting groups together. I know we all always hear the big fancy speeches by Ronaldo in the dressing room. That's like Ibrahimovic giving a fancy ass speech after they win something. Who cares, man? You're a big personality, and that is a big role. But let's not pretend he's the biggest leader in the world. Let's not pretend, we're getting a new captain in. No, absolutely not. Like, and yeah, would he score goals? 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Wow.
But I'm not sure what else he would bring. And Lukaku would score goals if we give him the ball in the right position. But he didn't do anything around it. And that's why it all didn't work. And I fear that Ronaldo would just be the same thing. He'd score goals if we get him the ball in the correct positions, in more positions than Lukaku, because Ronaldo's way better than Lukaku. But essentially, we'd still have the same problems. We'd have problems with who works with him. We'd have problems with that he can't press. We'd have problems that we'd kind of probably use him as a holder player. He'd get annoyed by that. So then he'd be annoyed by Tuchel. Then we'd have the whole problems all over again. Now, Ronaldo wouldn't be anywhere near as stupid as Lukaku and give an interview. Of course not, because Ronaldo actually has a brain cell. But, I'm sure he's a huge leader for Portugal. I'm not taking anything away from that for him at all. But Portugal, he clearly cares a lot about Portugal, about his country, about his people. That's different, though, to going to Chelsea for a year at 37. It's not the same. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that those are my thoughts. To me, honestly, I think anyone that properly wants Ronaldo, other than for the excitement, we're signing Ronaldo. We can get the name on the shirt and stuff. For those reasons, I totally understand, of course. But if you genuinely want it because you think he'd be so great, I think you're a bit mental, and I think you've just missed all of last season if you don't see how that will cause problems. But each around. Now, Pice is the one that's probably the most for Ronaldo here. So I will go with you first to give it a bit of a counterbalance to me just going all out against him. I'm not saying you're fully for it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying more so than probably myself, Clutch, and Con. But I could be wrong on Cons.
I just initially when I first saw that, I was like, yeah, get him in. But when I took a step back and thought about it more, you do make some very valid points. It's just to the whole system thing, right? Imagine we switch to a 4 at the back, right? Say we do get Raphinha and Sterling. I mean, the Athletic have already said today that that's hinting towards a 4 at the back. I don't know whether they know anything, but automatically then I don't think the press...
I like that.
Yeah, I don't think the press... I mean, it matters less in different formations, right? I also think that he could play I could see him playing very well with Havertz as like a second striker, roaming off him, because I do still think he has very
you've watched more of Ronaldo at United than I have, but I've never really thought of Ronaldo as the best link-up player.
Oh, he is. Trust me, he is. He's very good. He's very good, bro.
I feel like Ronaldo gets the ball and shoots. That's all he does.
Nah, he's still very good with his back to the goal. Much better than someone like Lukaku. It's not even close. But those are the main reasons for me why I'd be open to it. Also, the wage cut is just it's dependent on so many things. And for people saying, Tuchel's going to say no to Lukaku, no to Ronaldo. Just be very careful. You never know. It may be too much of a, I want to work with him type situation. This is Ronaldo at the end of the day. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. But at the same time, I do see the negatives. I do see him as just using us essentially. I want to move. Who can I go to? Chelsea are in the Champions League. Great. Let's see if I can win another Champions League, whatever. He doesn't really care. He doesn't care about Chelsea at all. Let's be honest with you. and that's where I think the problems could come in. So yeah, there's honestly, I could sit here for an hour and probably list you like 10 pros, 10 cons. I don't know.
No, you're not. You're
It's
not wrong. And let me just clarify to people. Actually, I don't think financially Ronaldo is the problem at all. Ronaldo more than pays for himself. If you get like more than that, that's the least of our problems. And also, Ronaldo wouldn't ruin any wage structures because Ronaldo, by a lot of the players in our squad, will be considered the greatest footballer of all time. They're not gonna complain that they don't make as much money as Ronaldo. Ronaldo doesn't ruin wage structures. That's fine. It's no problem, even if he's on crazy wages. But I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it. Like, man, I just don't think he solves more problems than he causes. And I mean, people say, "Oh, if you think United finished sixth because of Ronaldo," no, they didn't probably finish sixth because of Ronaldo. But they finished second last year, and I know Liverpool were in the mud. I get it, but that's really the only difference. Because were we that much better than the year before? Oh, in the grand scheme of things, no. So only Liverpool really got better from last year to this year, even if it's kind of already next year. But you get what I'm saying, right? And they still dropped from second to nearly seventh. Like they needed West Ham to bottle it on the last day that they aren't in the Conference League. Like that is mental. Do you know how mental that is, right? And Juve, they won the league in his first season with him, which bloody sorry still. And everything everything went shit for them after that. Like it's crazy. Like I've been speaking to a couple of Juve fans on Twitter, and it was all like they weren't saying it was just Ronaldo's fault either, but they were saying we just didn't do anything other than give the ball to Ronaldo and hope he did something. That's all they did, and I feel like that's all United do. And I'm like, that can't be a coincidence. I feel like that just happens because Ronaldo is such a big personality and such a big player and such an icon of the sport that automatically every player around him would just play to him, and that ruins so much else that's not even directly Ronaldo's fault, but it's still a consequence of him being there. And that's not even talking about pressing or not pressing, whatever, right? That's not even taking that into account yet. I still think it causes just too many problems, in my opinion. What do you think about it?
Yeah, bro. I'm not a fan of this Ronaldo stuff, like I said before, bro. I'm just not. When I first saw it, like the other day, like Chelsea might be interested, but I was like, yeah, this is nothing. And then when I see Ornstein, you know, the actual goat of journalists, I'm just like, wow. I can't, bro. I just don't want him. It makes no sense. Like, I'm just gonna end it on this, bro. System over individuals.
what happens if we change the system, Con?
How does he benefit us? What like Tuchel, counter pressing is massive, right? He says it's like a number 10 in his words. Sorry, my dog is going ape. He said it's like a number 10 counter press, right? How does Ronaldo fit into that philosophy? I tell you, he doesn't. You're literally just signing him for the name and the brand. You're not signing him for what he does on the pitch. And the fact it's not someone Tuchel recommends. He says, he has an admiration for Ronaldo. Of course, everybody in football does. Ronaldo's Ronaldo. But it doesn't mean he wants him to play in his football team or sees him in his future. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man.
We'll
for the wages.
Because it won't happen unless Tuchel says so. So we know that.
And bro,
hopefully,
will it even happen?
Like you
will
say
United
that as such a guarantee. Hopefully that's true.
I mean, Matt
Laurenz,
Law,
will
Matt Law
United
and
sell him
Ornstein said that.
Yeah, but will United sell Ronaldo to Chelsea? That's their legend, one of their greatest ever players. But I don't think so. I don't think they do.
They'll have
if
literally.
Ronaldo hands in a transfer
Okay,
request,
no,
you're not
listen,
telling him he
bro.
stay,
Listen,
man.
if Chelsea are the only club in for Ronaldo, right, serious about it, like let's just put that out there, and Ronaldo will force that move. At that point, Man United can't do anything. They will have to sell him because Ronaldo will force his way out of the club. He does not care, and that's obviously one of the other cons as well. It's like if it doesn't work out, we've got another drama on our hands. Like, you know what I mean?
And
It's
just a quick one. Someone said like in the comments, like, I want Neymar. No, I don't. Logically, I said no. It makes no sense. I said the kid in me would love him and to have that Neymar shirt I'd hold dearly. But my
I
head
still like. I don't want Neymar either, but I prefer
it
him
makes
to
more
Ronaldo,
sense,
and I'd
though.
much more
Yeah,
accept Neymar than I would Ronaldo.
Yeah, because
And
it
I know
makes more
people
sense
find that
because.
crazy.
But he creates. He's that winger who will be that creative spark for us. Tuchel wants a winger who has 1v1 ability. He wants someone who can create. Neymar ticks those boxes. So the question marks over his wages, how available he is, they're there for sure. But he kind of fits the profile of the player Tuchel's looking for. Ronaldo just doesn't. Sorry, like if you're a Ronaldo stan, it's cool. But for Chelsea, in my eyes, it don't make sense, man, and nobody can convince me otherwise.
I agree. Unless we do what H. Naku said. 5 subs, get Ronaldo for the bench, just for the lols. See, if Boehly just wants to have a bit of a laugh for a year and just put Ronaldo on the bench, I'm all here for it. Imagine we bring on Ronaldo in the 70th minute every game. We'll be laughing. We'll be laughing our way to the bank. We'll be winning the Champions League just by bringing him on in the 70th minute every game. It'd be a great time because we actually play good football for 70 minutes. And then if we can't score, we bring Ronaldo on and score a hat-trick and we'll be fine. So, that'd be quite good. But yeah, it's... I find
just one more quick point, bro. Sorry, I forgot to say this. As Chelsea fans, we've always said we want smarter signings, right? But as soon as we get linked to that big name, we all over it like a rash. We get drawn back in,
We did the same thing with Lukaku last year. Let's not lie to ourselves, man.
There's definitely more like people saying no, like this is not the way to rebuild now, though, compared to last summer. Like I think some people have learnt a little bit, including me, because initially I was like, get Ronaldo.
If you ask the large majority of the Chelsea fan base, and you don't just look at people like us that really are more in depth about everything, that like care about every single rumor and every single like bit of information here and there and tactics and whatever, the large majority, the average Chelsea fan, I would say they would all want Ronaldo. It's just, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, bro, because I did a tweet saying Ronaldo, no. Like, Ronaldo is some dumb pun. And then people was like, but it's Ronaldo. Like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
it's nice it's Ronaldo. All I'm going to say is what a successful pressure that is,
Yeah, there you go. See, and AD, I find it interesting that so many people just do. Like, look at what happened to Juve and United. Again, I'm not saying it's all his fault, but like, this can't just be a pure coincidence. Like, surely, even Real Madrid have won more league titles since Ronaldo's left than when he was there. Like, that's mental. Obviously, that's not to do with Ronaldo. That's to do with Barcelona having become shit since then. Not because Ronaldo wasn't good enough at Madrid. Don't twist my words, please. But yeah, I mean, Clutch, if you want to add anything to that, we've said a lot of things. So I'm not sure if there's anything you haven't said yet, but if there is, please do.
I mean, I sit here and look at this chat, and I see everybody going, Ronaldo. You just want the endorphin rush. That's all it is. Like, you act like Ronaldo is going to make, other than maybe one other player, better. And that's not even making him better. That's just giving him a target, and that's Reece James. What else is he going to do? He's going to make the other two people around him worse because he's not going to press. They're going to have to do more pressing because we're not going away from the press. I'm sorry. If you think we are, we're just not. That's not going to happen. He's not going to do that. And if you think he is going to do that, you're more delusional than you actually think. Like, Ronaldo's not going to work out for more than like 4 players on our team. He's a great player. Nobody says he's not. Like, I don't that's not the question. And they're like, oh, we're going to score 20 plus goals. He didn't score 20 plus goals for United, and they have a creator. I'm saying, whether you like it or not, Bruno Fernandes is a better creator than Mason Mount is. So what are you going to do when he doesn't have that creator? You're just going to expect him to do something out of nothing? He's not 25 no more. He's not going to do it. I'm sorry. Ronaldo's not a good idea. Like, that's,
he wouldn't need to be 25. 30, even 33 would be fine. But 37 is just an edge old. Even for a specimen like him.
I think it's because people just want the 7 with the Ronaldo on the back of the kit. That's it. Other than that, you're not asking the questions properly.
I agree. I mean, AD says, "Idea, what's missing? Finishing." See, I don't even agree with that. Like, finishing is part of the problem. We make finishing so difficult for ourselves because we don't create properly. I know Pi says we create, and we do create, but not consistently at the level where our players become comfortable in front of goal. Our players are all easily good enough in front of goal if they don't have stupid pressure all the time. And you relieve that pressure by giving them more better chances. And I think that's the part we need to fix first before we need to fix finishing. Because we tried fixing finishing by signing Lukaku last year, and that backfired so much. Like, worst signing in Premier League history, potentially worst signing in football history. Like, you know how mad that is, that we have that stigma or that badge on the back of our shirt now. This club made the worst transfer in football history. You know how embarrassing that is? Awful. Absolutely awful. Of course, we need to improve our finishing as well. Don't get me wrong with that. But I feel like we can't fix that problem before we haven't fixed the other problem. Maybe people disagree with that. That's fair enough. But yeah, there was something else I wanted to highlight. Lewis, I think we should run to the shops and get some more tissues because I'm sure you're not done crying about Christensen. But I love you though. So yeah, and like Melinda said here, what we need, more likes. Ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button. We have 300 people watching. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are getting ever closer to 15,000 subscribers because not streaming regularly will slow things down a little bit. But hey, doesn't mean we're stopping. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Anything else any one of you would like to add on Ronaldo? Everton won Broja, according to David Ornstein. Fair enough. I mean, you're not having him.
Getting line of the other 10 different clubs that want him.
Yeah. Broja has two options for me. Either he stays or we use him to get Rice. Everything else, not an option. That's my opinion. But yeah, now, quickly, just because a lot of people are talking about, we need finishing, we don't have a striker, we need to sign someone. Sorry, bro. Because we got rid of Lukaku, how do you see the situation at the moment? I'll go back to you, actually, Clutch. Do you think we need to sign a striker? Or do you think using a season to see what we can do with Havertz up top, just trusting him and having like a Broja and a Sterling as backup if has to play false nine, is that enough? Or do you think we need to sign a striker? Because now everyone that is mental would say we have Werner as that backup, but we don't want Werner. So Werner doesn't count. So basically we just have Havertz and maybe Broja. Do you think we need to sign someone for there? And Havertz is not a goal scorer AD, but neither are Phil Foden, and neither are Raheem Sterling, really. And neither is Bernardo Silva, and neither is Riyad Mahrez. And still City batter the Premier League year in, year out, year in, year out, year in, year out. While what do? Flop year in, year out in the Premier League. That's what we do. We haven't been anywhere near winning the Premier League since we last won the Premier League. Like, I'd much rather do what City do, not have a striker and win the league every year, than we have a striker, but then fucking have what we have with Lukaku. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. We don't need a goal scorer. Clearly, football changes. 20 years ago, everyone played 4-4-2. Do you want to play 4-4-2 now? No, you don't. Do you know what I mean? I mean, some people do, but I don't. But yeah, Clutch, do you think we need to go after some sort of striker?
Well, I think if we start with Havertz, right? I said this in Jem's stream earlier when I was on, and I wasn't on, but I was watching with Khan and Jem. Havertz will not make it here unless it's at the number 9 position. It won't happen. He's not a 10. He's not creative enough. He's not going to make it as a wide player. Like, he's just not that type of player. So what are you going to do with him? This is the decision you're going to have to make. If you're not going to make him your guy and make him the number 9, which is the only place I think I see him fitting in. I see him a lot like a player like a better version of Firmino at Liverpool. He's the type of guy who's going to do the dirty work. He's going to drag the center backs out of the box so other players can get in behind the scoring.
I disagree. I think Havertz has a goal scorer in him that can be unlocked personally, and I think Firmino doesn't.
Well, I think Havertz can too. I think he's young enough to grow and become something different. But what he is now is that. He can score 30 goals a season. Eventually, not next season, but eventually. I don't know about 30, but probably 20. I'd agree on 20. But I do think you need to give him that time. I think you need to give him that time.
I don't think he's a goal scorer at all. I don't think he's a goal scorer.
He can be, man. I honestly think he can be.
He misses a lot of chances, by the way.
But
as well.
He does.
But my point is,
he's not clinical, bro. Like, I don't know if we can rely on him, honestly.
But so does Haaland, in case you didn't know. Like, Haaland misses so many chances.
Haaland's got one of the best strike
not
rates.
All throughout his career, but there was a time at Dortmund he scored stupid amounts of goals, but he still only scored 50% of his chances, which is crazy. And I know people will ridicule me because they haven't seen the stat, but if you've seen the stat, you'll see it, and you're like, mental. But anyway,
my point is, if you want to keep Havertz, if you want to give Havertz the time, you have to give him the time as the main guy. You have to give him that opportunity. And if he's not going to be that, then we need to look to see who's going to buy him this summer, because he's not going to make it here. We can't use him as a bench player. A $70 million guy is not a bench player. And like I said, he's not a wide player. He's not a 10. It's just not who he is. He's not creative enough. That's not what he does. Like, his best attributes is him roaming around and dragging players out of position right now. That's his best attribute, which is what fits perfectly in our system. And like I said, when you look at City and Liverpool, they just now bought like proper strikers, right? And I don't even know if you call Nunez a proper striker.
No.
They've been playing with players who do that, do what Kai Havertz does. They drag players out of position so other players get into position to score. That's what we have. That's what the modern game is going towards in the Premier League. Premier League defenders are much better at one-on-one defending in the box now. So you're not wanting that. You don't want that as a striker. What we want is somebody who's going to give somebody else the opportunity.
You need proper strikers again. But now I feel like you don't.
Havertz got that chance this season then, hasn't he, Clutch?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I agree. That's what I said. I agree with that. That's my point, is he needs that opportunity. I've said that about many players, but that's what it is. Those young players need that opportunity to be that guy. And I think this is the chance that we need to give Havertz. And if you go out and sign like a Ronaldo, what's that mean for Havertz? Like, I'm not saying like you shouldn't sign a player who's better because of Havertz's growth, but you need to understand these things. These are fundamental things we need to go into. What do we want out of Havertz? Because if we're not going to use Havertz as that main guy, then you need to sell him now. Like, you need to get best on your investment.
But he was also good playing off someone. I
disagree heavily with that.
No,
because last year,
he's best as a second striker. No, you can't compare the current Chelsea squad as a barometer to what Havertz can do. That's not. You can't say, oh, look at Lukaku and Werner when they play with Havertz. That's irrelevant. They're not good players. If you're talking about bringing Ronaldo in, Havertz playing off him, in my opinion, would be miles better because he's a 10, 15 times better player than those two combined.
Ronaldo doesn't want players playing off him, though, does he?
What?
Ronaldo wants to be the guy that scores.
Yeah, but say Tuchel used, I don't know, a 4-2-4 like he did at PSG. Ronaldo's still going to get those chances. 4-4-2 out of possession. Havertz can also start.
So then Ronaldo lays it off to Havertz and Havertz squares it back across to Ronaldo. Is that the idea?
Well, play it out to Sterling. If Sterling plays on the left, into the box, cutbacks.
Very simplistically, of course.
It's a very attacking formation. I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking of if Ronaldo signed. And I know Tuchel used it. The Athletic also mentioned it. That's mainly why I brought it up. Because they were saying that Tuchel specifically asked for Raphinha because he was using Dortmund data analytics, right? And he wanted a aggressive winger. And then they said, by buying Raphinha and Sterling, it means, or it points towards, Tuchel is going to change the formation, which is what I've been saying this whole time. But then again, I was like, well, we kind of need a DM for that, which is obviously another debate. I'm not going into that, but I'm just saying, if we sign Ronaldo and we sign Raphinha and Sterling, I don't think we play it for it.
Midfield is not really a priority right now.
Yeah, he was like, it's a case of priorities. And centre back has to be the priority, and then Tuchel wants to change his whole attack up, and I was like, okay, but then I was like, well, is Tuchel going to change formation? He was like, well, Tuchel's thinking about it, blah blah blah. But again, everyone has their own opinions. I personally don't think we have the midfielders, but it's I just don't think I can't see a situation where if Ronaldo, Sterling, and Raphinha sign, let's just say they do. The front three is a three at the back with those three because Mount's going to play somewhere as well. Like, it's just, if you sign one winger, I think we still say the three at the back. But it's looking at two different wingers who are aggressive and actual wingers, not inside forwards. If Tuchel plays them in a three at the back, he's just dumb. He is. They're not inside forwards. Sterling maybe a little bit, but Raphinha definitely isn't.
Mate, I so hope you're right. You know that. I so hope.
Yeah,
I
right. Hope I am too. Because if I see Raphinha at, like an inside 10. It's literally like, yeah, like they need width. They need space to dribble. Like,
but my question is, if you say that, what changed from last season to this season? Then, if we don't get any midfielders, but we get those other two players, when we have three players last season that were wingers, but we didn't use that, and we still kept going with it. That's my question to you right now. But we're going to keep the same thing, but we're going to buy two other wingers. But now all of a sudden we're going to switch to it because we have we need those for the wingers, but we had that in the first place. So why didn't?
Maybe he just thinks they're better and more direct. And
that's fair enough. That's a fair enough statement. But at the same time, you can't blame those players at that point then, because they don't fit that system, right?
Yeah, there's an element of that for some players, for sure.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying for that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you our players are better than Sterling because they're not. 100%. I agree. Sterling is the better player.
I agree. Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi are definitely wingers for me. Ziyech
is nothing, man.
No, Ziyech is better in a four.
But he's actually good in. Like,
he's better in a four because he can play touchline, right?
But he doesn't have a great position. He
No,
doesn't.
he's not
Because
fast
in the
enough. That's the
touchline, he
problem.
doesn't have the pace actually to be a touchline player. But he doesn't have. He isn't good enough when he doesn't have time to be a central player. That, in my opinion, that's the big problem.
That's what I think about Raphinha as well. He needs that space. He needs that time. Like
But he has the pace at least, though. Which
yeah, but he's not actually a great dribbler, by the way. His dribble success rate is quite poor, to be honest with you. So
brilliant.
I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, also, Musa, I am a Messi stan, and if you're not, you don't know football. Come on. Do you think we should be signing a striker, even not necessarily a striker that comes in to start every game, but do you think we need another player that can play that position? Or do you think with what we have right now, that's fine?
I think me have Broho still an option, isn't he? Because Kai can't play every game. If we get rid of Broha, maybe try to find a cheap player you can bring in. Yeah, so just someone who can be played back up to Kai. Because I think what Tuchel's doing, what we've seen, is he's trying to get goal-scoring wingers, you know. So it suggests that Kai will be playing some sort of false nine, and them two guys take the burden of goals away from him and just try to get like a free-flowing scoring team all round instead of just relying on the one guy. So yeah, I don't think we'll be signing a number 9 this summer.
Fair. I just wanted to get back to one point that people in the chat said back to after I said, well, City don't have a proper number 9. And they said, well, we're not City, which is a fair point. But what I'm trying to tell you is we tried to fix the finishing issue with Lukaku last year, right? And that didn't work. And now I'm saying we need to fix the other problems first before we fix the finishing problems. And now you're telling me we're not City. Yeah, I agree. And someone said, João Cancelo himself is more creative than our entire team. And even that I don't really disagree with. But that's the problem that we need to fix first before any finishing fixes our problems. Ronaldo will score goals. But last season people complained Mason Mount only scored goals against Norwich, right? Who's to say Ronaldo won't just score goals against those teams? I'm not saying that's what he will do. But the way we play, we don't create chances against big teams. We don't at the moment. We really don't. Against City, we had one. Lukaku bottled it. Do you know what I mean? With one chance, Ronaldo will probably score that one chance. But will we even get that one chance with Ronaldo? Who knows? I don't know. It's just too much. It's just too much of a risk, because if it doesn't work, we waste another year of fixing our problems. That's why I said earlier, if we sign Sterling and say Raphinha, and then in August we're Ronaldo is still available and Boehly is I want to go mental and he wants to add Ronaldo to it, go on then. Why not? Who cares? But not before that. But before that, we have way bigger problems than Ronaldo, in my opinion. But let's take this to Raheem Sterling quickly. We've been kind of touching on and off for the last hour anyway. Now there has been a report by, as far as I'm aware, Sky Sports, that he wants a pay rise when coming to Chelsea, or if coming to Chelsea, which is a bit mental because he is apparently already on £300,000 a week at Man City, which tells me we are absolutely no way giving him a pay rise. I just don't see it. Is he worth it? Absolutely not either. Lukaku wasn't way too much money already, and we saw that win. So let's not do that again. Because what if Sterling doesn't work out either? Because that's just how it goes when Chelsea sign attackers. And then we have another attacker on stupendous wages that we can't get rid of, and we can only loan out, and then we're screwed again. Do you know what I mean? So please don't give him a pay rise. And if it stops him coming, crazy sentence, but if it stops him from joining Chelsea because we don't want to give him a pay rise, then what? Then we're screwed again. Oh, man. Pies, what do you think about that? We're in a situation where we so badly need players, centre-backs, wingers, if Tuchel wants to completely change the attack around. We still, in my opinion, need at least one wing-back super urgently. In my opinion, we super urgently need a DM. We're not, number one, we still haven't got anything done. It's July now. And we don't even know how much we're willing to go for wages. Because that's another thing. Before we don't even have at least one player in, we don't, at least signing one player will give us a bit of an indicator of what are we willing to pay now with new ownership, because we have new ownership. We don't know now. Are we going to be having the similar situation as before, where we're like anyone that wants more than 250, we're very hesitant on. Maybe anyone that wants more than 300k, we're very hesitant on. Or is it going to change now? And is it going to be a situation now where we're going to happily pay bigger wages? Because I've also thought about those things a few times. I'm like, look at the amount of stupidly high earning players clubs like Real Madrid have. Like, I know Real Madrid generate way more revenue than we don't understand. Bigger stadium, bigger, sponsorships. I get that. But we also want to get there at some point. So at some point, we'll probably have to. Like, if we ever want to not have the situation where players prefer Barcelona or Real Madrid to us, we're probably going to have to, at some point, go into a position where we also pay as much as they do. So at some point in the next 10 years, we'll need to get there. But right now, it's probably not the time. So if Sterling wants a pay rise, and if it's true, again, Pies, it's Sky Sports, so maybe it's not even true, and maybe he'll even be happy to go down to 275, for example. But if he isn't, then what? Like, do we just give it to him, or do we then go for someone different, even though we've been so close to Sterling for God knows how many weeks now? Like, then what?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about the whole wages discussion, to be honest, because Sterling deserves very high wages. Like, he is one of the best wingers, like, in Premier League and Europe, wherever you want to say, in my opinion. I know we shouldn't really use that word Premier League proven, but he is. So, I do think he'd be able to adapt into this Chelsea team. I do. I wouldn't pay something stupid like 350k, but he's going to be on our top earnings. Like, it's Raheem Sterling. Like, this is not someone that's come from abroad. Is a new guy. This is one of the most, one of the best wingers. So yeah, I do believe we'll have to pay him high wages. It is what it is. Anyone who thought you could get Sterling on a bargain,
we can't give him higher than Lukaku. Like, as much as we were wrong when we signed Lukaku, we were like, you are one of the top 3, maybe 5 strikers in the world. Sterling is not in the top 5 wingers in the world.
I disagree. I think he is easily. Right now, I think he is. Yeah.
No, I play this game with you. You can tell me if you disagree. It's fine. Okay, so I'll just name the wingers which I think are better than Sterling. Okay. Right. Sadio Mane.
Yes.
Mo Salah.
No.
Interesting, but fair. I'll just keep going.
Most people believe Mo Salah is a better player than Mane is. Just to let you know.
Better scorer. Sterling's a better player, in my opinion.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he offers
Vinicius Junior.
It's a hard one.
Okay.
Maybe.
Neymar.
Overall,
I'm not saying better for us, but just better as
better player. Yeah. Okay.
I've not even mentioned Messi because who knows what his position these days, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mbappe too.
And then we go to the players.
Technically a winger.
Yeah. I'll consider Mbappe more of a striker these days, personally. But that, in my opinion, also why he didn't go to Real Madrid, because they've got Vinicius and they've got Benzema. But hey, and then we haven't even gotten to all the players at Man City which are playing over Sterling, which is why Sterling wants to leave City. Like
Mahrez.
Now, I'm not even going to mention them because
I don't know. I know, like, we shouldn't be judging Pep, but a lot of their fans say Sterling should be starting. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think he's
Pep just won them the league twice in a row.
Sterling also pretty much set up.
To be fair, Sterling is the third leading scorer for City, behind Mahrez and De Bruyne.
He's very disrespected, in my opinion, but I know some.
It is fair. He is a very good player. Nobody should deny that.
Disrespect. I just don't think he's top 5 in the world. That's all I'm saying.
It's debatable.
And by the way, I completely agree with this by health stuff here. I would have taken Mane over Sterling any day of the week, and I have no idea why we didn't try for that. They got him for 35 million. I know he probably didn't even want to join another Premier League club for respect to Liverpool, probably. But we should have at least tried, right? Mane for 35 million is mental. Like, mental. And then people are telling me Raphinha is worth 60 million. Mental. Yeah, but still, okay, fair enough. But let me get to content. Do you think there is a certain limit that we should have for Raheem Sterling, or is it a case of we just need a winger, we've decided it's him, so just give him what he needs?
Well, definitely not increasing those wages because he's on near enough 300k a week. No, thank you, Sterling. You're not taking that wage here, bro. It's not happening. Timo Werner's on 275. I think Sterling around that ballpark would be fair. Because I disagree with Pies. I don't think he's top 5, but I think he is top 10.
Okay, that might be fair, yeah.
So I think you need to be a bit further away from him. Do I sound quiet or something, Laurenz?
No, not quite. If anything, a bit too loud, like too almost close to your mic.
Oh, I've got my beats on.
But now it's better. I don't know. Whenever you start speaking, it's super like, shh. But then the longer you speak for, the better it gets. So yeah.
Okay, I try to talk a little bit quieter then, but
good.
Yeah, we can't pay him 300k on this. No, we can't pay him 300k or more. It just can't happen, bro. Not for Sterling. If you consider Salah is on 350 now, and that's Salah, and look what he's done for Liverpool.
Yeah,
And I think Salah, not only Salah full stop, that's Salah at Liverpool where he really works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
because I
careful.
might even agree with Pies actually that I think as a full overall player, I might even think Sterling's better than Salah.
But it's what it's how Salah's seen in, I suppose, by the footballing people of the world as a player. And I don't know, 350k. If that's true, no, just not.
I mean,
you've got to be careful because
he's on 450. I don't think that's true, but I could be.
No, I think he's on 300k when I start. It's just like, when does it stop then? When does every player of quality you sign, you're paying them over 250? Like, you got to be careful that as soon as you do it a few times, everybody's going to start expecting it. And then
which is why the first thing we need to do, or the second thing after signing players, is getting rid of Timo Werner, so we don't have someone as shit as Timo Werner on 275k anymore, because that ruins everything. Like Ronaldo, Neymar, you could get paid him 2 million a week, and it still wouldn't ruin the wage structure.
Let's not be
Timo
hasty,
Werner
bro.
275k would ruin wage structures.
Bro, no. I think Timo will be good this season. I think we need to keep him.
Why
are you laughing? Sure. No, because we don't have another number 9, so we need Timo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't even take it serious.
Nah, this guy's got me trolling.
I can't take it seriously. I can't.
This guy's got me trolling.
And whatever you're drinking, smoking, snorting, whatever, of course, only baking powder. YouTube, don't demonetize me. I want some. If you think Werner's, yeah. But anyway, I'm joking around. Pies, have you kind of said enough on this already? Should we move on to the De Ligt story?
Yeah, pretty much. I think with the whole pay rise thing, it's only Sky Sports. I mean, I was watching Sky Sports the other day, right? 5-10 years ago, they were elite. You wouldn't get any journalists. You just turn on Sky Sports and they would be the guys. But I was watching them the other day, and they put breaking news, the whole Ronaldo story, and I was listening to them, and they were saying, it's our sources. We understand that Ronaldo wants to leave. And after 15 different journalists came out and broke the news, I was like, nah, I ain't listening to Sky Sports anymore.
Well, Pies, you got to understand, the reason why it's changed, isn't it? It's just because of the age of the internet. A lot of these guys...
So it's when people say... When they say Sky Sports, knows about, or Sterling wants a pay rise, they're getting that from somewhere else. They just don't say where. And I haven't seen it. It's they don't...
And now you got the Telegraph.
Yeah, they may have
you got the Telegraph, Athletic, because just the age where journalists can now get paid without being paid by a Sky Sports or something like that. They can kind of do their own thing. Sky Sports have been left behind, and these guys waffle, bro. They absolutely waffle. They have no idea what they're talking about these days. But one thing I forgot to mention about my Sterling bit, bro.
It's been 3 years where they've been so bad.
Yeah. And one thing I just want to quickly mention about the Sterling thing, what I forgot, bro, is I don't think Chelsea are in these really advanced stages if Sterling was asking for an outrageous amount of money. So
I thought personal terms were done. I thought it was just we were arguing with City what we were going to pay.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports about that.
That's what I've seen.
He's apparently selling his house. He can't still be negotiating personal terms, I'm sure. It's my logic.
To Trent Alexander-Arnold, by the way, which is hilarious to me. Well, at least that's what I read the other day.
Yeah, supposedly.
Fair enough, because Liverpool, Manchester are reasonably close. Neither of them are going to live near the city centres because they're going to want to be away from people. So why not? And Jazzy, I'm pretty sure the fact that Sterling wants a pay rise is not from Sky Germany. But what is on Sky Germany, and thank you for that segue, is the story that there you go. Matthijs De Ligt apparently. Well, number one, Bayern are looking into it and getting him, and apparently he would actually prefer to go to Bayern after having talks with Nagelsmann and being super impressed. Now, How true that is or not, I don't know. I'm not sure if Pice knows either, but I'll ask him in a second. But I'll be annoyed. I'll be annoyed because I've see there was a train driving past me. It said huge De Ligt sign on it, and I was like kind of hesitant to begin with. I'm like, I quite like this train, but I'm not sure. And then the train just kept driving past me slowly but surely. And at some point, I was like, okay, I need to get on it. And then I jumped on the hype train. And everything that's happened since then is we're not giving them Werner, which is depressing. And now apparently also Bayern Munich want him as well. Which in theory doesn't bother me at all because Bayern Munich have no money. So can they even afford that? But if he really wants it, it's a similar situation with Raphinha, depending on how badly he wants it, I suppose. But yeah, I want De Ligt, so can we please get this done? But what I'm a fan of personally, I'm sure Clutch is as well. I'm sure Con is as well. Not sure if everybody else is. But that we've apparently also said no to Juve for wanting Christian Pulisic as part of the De Ligt deal. And yeah, I'm a fan of that. I think we should be keeping Pulisic for at least another year or two and see what happens then, and then we can still get rid of him. That's my opinion. But yeah, now Pice, number one, is it because usually I swear the Germany part of Sky Sports are a lot better than the English part. So
if it's Germany
players, they said that is to me a little bit concerning. What do you think about that?
For sure. So the person who broke it was Florian Plettenberg, who broke Chelsea's interest in Guardiola. And then he also said that he was going to cost too much. So obviously he's been right on that. I know, yeah, Sky Germany in general. I mean, Christian Falk, Plettenberg. There's another one as well. I keep forgetting his name. He's a Dortmund reporter. Patrick Berger, that's it. They're really, really good for German clubs. And of course, this is probably true. I mean, I think even, remember that old guy who's hot days and stuff, Alfredo Pagula, the Italian guy? He said when he said Chelsea were going to bid for De Ligt this week, he also said that Bayern and City had asked about him, but didn't go any further. So maybe, I mean, the first thought for this for me is Juventus are trying to drive the price up. But again, I mean, in the report, it said that Bayern can't afford him without player sales. So, I mean, if Chelsea act quick, then he's ours at the end of the day, in my opinion. I think he wants to join Chelsea. I'm pretty sure of that. I mean, there was the couple reports. Nick Purewell came out and said that, he'd really interested by like the way Tuchel had developed Rudiger's defensive game and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't think this is a Raphinha situation, but we'll see. I mean, Bayern might magically get money from somewhere, but at the end of the day, like Juventus want 60, 70 million. So are they going to spend that on a centre? I don't know. Bayern are very, very tight. I have to say that they are.
But they also spent 80 million on Lucas Hernandez a few years ago. Nobody understood why.
But overall they're quite tight. So I think this one could happen. And also stuff like this. It's like it's Spanish, German media. Like, is that just bias? Like, he's told he wants to join Bayern. Yeah, but we was also told by Italian guys that he wants to join Chelsea. So, you know what I mean? Like, people were
Christian
going
Falk
mental.
also said that Liverpool wanted Pulisic. Remember that?
He said Chelsea were going to buy Salah.
But they probably did want him though. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, don't you think?
I don't know, bro. Like, I just think with this sort of tweet, I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Tuchel's got no pull," but yet they didn't say anything when reports came out that he wanted to join Chelsea. So I don't know. It's just is what it is, isn't it? German media, Spanish media, they're all biased towards Bayern and Real and Barca.
I guess it's no different to whenever players are linked to Man United and Liverpool. The English media make a big fuss out of it and say, "Yeah, they want to go." Not with us, but with Liverpool and Man United, they do that. So I guess you might have a point there. I mean, I don't really know how reliable Matt Matero is. Do you, Pice?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Is he?
He's pretty good. Yeah.
But would you say he's better than Christian Falk? I personally, my personal opinion.
He's the same
Christian
one that
Falk
said
very, very on and off. And I swear that I've seen a couple of stinkers from Christian Falk as much as I've seen a couple of.
Bro, with Falk, when it comes to Bundesliga players, he knows what he's talking about. Other leagues, take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, but this is still involving a Bundesliga club, though, so that's why I'm not sure how to judge it.
Yeah, but does he know what De Ligt has told Juventus? Like, I don't know about that. Like,
I don't know.
For me, you'd have to ask an Italian source like Di Marzio because he would know more. You know what I mean about De Ligt's personal wishes.
But he ain't said nothing.
I know that's why. Like the first line of that tweet, I'm like, can you really? I don't know. Who have you asked? You know what I mean? You're a German reporter. You're not asking De Ligt, are you? You know what I mean? Like,
There you go. There you go. And Hellstuff, Bayern aren't that rich. Bayern just don't spend that much, and that's why they always have money. But obviously, Bayern.
But they've spent 8 million, bro.
Sorry?
I think people need to take that into account. They spent 80 million already this summer. They got Gravenberch, El Mazi, whatever his name is, Mane. So they spent like near enough 100 million already. Are they going to shell out 70 million euros for De Ligt? I don't think so, personally.
But they also really badly need centre backs, though. After they lost Alaba, after they lost Boateng, after they lost Niklas Süle now.
Bro, we have a great young and up-and-coming Mailing Sarr, bro. This guy, Premier League proven. A cheap price.
we also really need centre-backs, Laurenz. More than Bayern, we need 2.
True. Well, you could argue they need them even more badly than we do, to be honest, because they've got none that are any good, really. Because Lucas Hernandez is not really a serious centre-back. Upamecano has been dog shit
in
for
my
them.
books.
Sorry?
I said we pretty much have none in my books right now.
True. At least we have Thiago Silva, as much as he's 38. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like Chalobah, to be fair. There's a couple, but...
There you go. There you go. But that's it, to be fair. That's it, those two. Which is the sad thing, which is why we need to get a move on. But Clutch, let me ask you, your thoughts on this De Ligt story? Like, are you still with me on that hype train for De Ligt, or have you jumped back off?
No, I was on it from the beginning. I remember like right after the season ended, we were talking about center back transfers. He was the one I like shouted as like a dark horse. Because, I mean, I really like him as a player. I think he's a leader for how young he is. I think he's the kind of player that if Tuchel got his hands on him, like, we would be in such a good position. I think he would turn that guy into an absolute superstar, even bigger than he already is. I think he's a player that we can't miss out, especially how young he is. Like, if he could learn under Thiago Silva, that would be ideal, because I think he is going to be the type of player who will be the next Thiago Silva, to be honest with you. So, I mean, it is a little concerning if that is true that he wants Bayern over Chelsea, but then I'm just going to ask the question, why are players wanting Bayern more than Chelsea these days? I mean, I know Bayern's a very good team, and I know they have a very good record.
Anyone would want any Bundesliga club over any, like, I'd rather go to Bayern than I go to Bayern.
But, I mean, it's still Chelsea at the end of the day. I still think Chelsea have I shouldn't say a better pedigree, but still, it's Chelsea. We should be able to get him over Bayern Munich at this point. So I don't know why that's stalling. And I mean, he would be my first choice. And then you can either go get like a Kounde or a taller center back, however you want to play. But we probably need Kounde because he's faster. But we need to get that center back done at some point.
Yeah, I mean, Hellstuff is right. As much as I ridiculed them because I absolutely despise them from. They're very close, and a lot of people here, like from where I live, and a lot of people here are Bayern Munich fans. And then there's 2 ways: either you really hate Bayern Munich, or you like Bayern Munich when you're from here. You have those 2 options, and I really hate them. So yeah, but if we're honest with ourselves, Hellstuff is not wrong. But I don't know. Now, if we go back to even more, like even longer, when we were still during the season, we were talking about centre backs and stuff. And whenever De Ligt came up, the reason why I was against him was less so actually being against him. It was more that I could have never imagined, Chelsea going for him just because he was or is already in 280,000 euros a week at Juve. And I was like, well, if we're willing to pay a player, a centre-back that much money, then surely we would just give it to Rudiger. Of course, age is a big difference in that scenario. Rudiger's 29 and De Ligt is 22. Huge difference. But still, I'm still kind of a little bit concerned about that, where I'm like, what money is De Ligt going to ask? And once we find out how much money he's going to get, are the fans going to lose their shit that we just didn't give this to Rudiger? But again, of course, different ownership at the time, then sanctions. So a completely different situation. But people still lose their shit. And I'm still like, I still would have rather kept Rudiger than signed De Ligt. But I like De Ligt. I think he brings a lot of things that you want. I'm not sure if next Thiago Silva, maybe it's just because he played for Juve, but I see him proper as like the next Chiellini or something like that. Like, honestly, because Chiellini is one of the GOAT centre backs. Like, honestly, like, he was good at everything. He was reasonably quick in his heyday. He had great passing, great strength, great defending, great tactical understanding of everything, great leader. Like, Chiellini was everything. Ideally, that's what I'd want De Ligt to be. Who hasn't spoken about De Ligt yet? Pice, was that you? Have I asked you yet, Con? I think I have. Pice, what do you think about everything? I know you obviously jumped in on. I asked you already as well, didn't I? Did I ask all of you about De Ligt already now?
Not on this stream, but in chats probably.
Well, I mean, in the stream. So please, whatever you have to say, go on.
Yeah, I do think he's worth 60-something million. I do. I think it's a long-term investment as well. He's only 22. I do believe in terms of, attackers, there's definitely a debate to be had about Tuchel, but defenders, I mean, 100%. I wouldn't have any concerns. To be honest with you, the only concern I have with De Ligt is actually his on-the-ball ability. His ball progression stats are horrible for Juventus. I don't know whether that's just the system or I don't know, but they ain't
Do you
good.
happen to know his stats in that at Ajax?
At Ajax, they were a lot better, but again, yeah, that's why I said I don't know whether it's because of the system or not. But yeah, Juventus.
You'd think any player that comes out of Ajax is good on the ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love him, to be fair. The most attraction for me is that he's a leader. I mean, name me another young centre back like that who is such a leader. Like that signing would definitely gas me up. I think learning off Silva as well would just be that would be incredible. I definitely want De Ligt. Wages, I mean, I don't know, but guessing he would probably ask for a lot. I mean, again, I keep saying this. I think I did say it on another stream actually that, like, let's not forget who this guy is just because he's had a couple of average seasons at Juventus. Like, he was named to be like one of, an upcoming generational talent at Ajax with De Jong. And now because they've had a couple of, bad seasons or not even bad, just average. Because I remember the Juventus fan, Matthijs had a
I feel
Juventus
like it
fan
might
on his
also
channel.
just anyone that goes to Juventus kind of,
like
other than Pogba, kind of
Matthijs
loses every bit of reputation they had. I feel like that's just the Juve. That's just the Serie A thing. I feel like.
Yeah, like I remember when he went there, I was like, that's a bit of a weird choice when he could have gone to like Barca or PSG. But I remember Matthijs had a Juventus fan on his channel and they said, like, we don't want to let him go. He's actually been really good for them. It's just he's not, the hype's not there anymore because one, no one really watches Serie A, and two, Juventus haven't been that good in the Champions League. So I mean, Juventus, I'd love to get him out of there for sure.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've highlighted just this because someone in the chat spoke about it, and he didn't know how reliable Nick Purell is. But he's one of the most recognizable names from all the Chelsea press conferences. When the Chelsea press officer always says Nick Purell, the amount of times I've heard him say that, crazy. But yeah, he's tweeted out, as you can clearly read on screen. Todd Boehly and Thomas Tuchel expected to keep the Chelsea FC focus on deals for Raheem Sterling, in brackets close, and Raphinha, in brackets still in balance, despite discussing both Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar internally. A Chelsea move for Ronaldo would be unlikely to fit the existing plan for fluidity and movement in attack. Tuchel and Neymar are understood to have a stronger personal relationship, but the Brazil forwards profile may well not fit the Chelsea FC data-led transfer approach this summer. Now, if you're doing data and you're ignoring anything other than Neymar's injury data, then you're all over Neymar. I feel like all the other data is where Neymar must be amazing at, surely. But maybe not pressing, but every other bit of data. But I mean, number one, Pies, how reliable would you say Nick Purell is?
For transfers, I'm not sure, but
what is he reliable on then?
Well, he works for a press association, so he was very good with like the whole takeover stuff. Like, he had like a lot of inside contacts at Chelsea, so I would imagine he's still reliable if he knows people at Chelsea. It's another one of those kind of like the Athletic. It's like what the Chelsea want to get out there kind of thing. Like, he's not really I don't know. Like, his sources for me would probably be kind of like Chelsea hierarchy based, in my opinion, based off the press association.
I hear that. All right then. Not much to add because obviously we've spoken plenty about Neymar and Ronaldo and stuff already. Other than that, still not really linked to any midfielders, which is disappointing. Still not really linked to any wing backs, which is disappointing. But yeah, at the end of the day, we can just hope we get this done. I would give you a chance for any final thoughts, but I feel like I've asked you so many things already today. I feel like we're just going to wrap this up. So, Clutch, Con, Pies, if any of you have anything to say still, and I'm forgetting this now, please just shout. But otherwise, I think I'm going to wrap this up. Not the longest one today, but I think we might have been due one of those anyway. Clutch, you just unmuted yourself. Does that mean you want to say something? Sorry, go on.
You forgot the most important news of the day. Marcos Alonso is close to moving to
Marcus
Personally.
Alonso talk, best left back in the world talk.
Oh, lads, I saw something funny.
There you go. We're shipping him off.
Lads, I saw something hilarious, right? So it was a piece from Simon Johnson on The Athletic, right? And he put a tweet out saying, danger of Azpilicueta and Alonso both moving to Barcelona. And then I just looked at the comments and seeing Chelsea fans saying, "Give me all the danger." And then I saw,
wait, Laurenz, Laurenz, get that up. Wait, let me send that to you.
Yeah,
That's
please.
funny. Hang on, Daily tweeted it.
Guys,
Look at all the
I saw your thing. It's like, does he know?
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
like,
let
give
me
us all the
find it.
danger.
Let me find it. Hang on. All right, here we go. Laurenz, I'm sending it to you. There you go.
Daily is tweeted, you say?
Yeah, I sent it to you over DM.
Okay.
There is a danger. Like,
Also,
bro,
on a
I think
smaller
we're
note,
fine.
Ziyech is getting closer to a deal with AC Milan.
Oh yeah, let's quickly touch on that. That's a fair shout. Have fun, Con. You're a big fan of Hakim Ziyech, so what's your thoughts on that?
Victim of circumstance, innit? Victim of circumstance. That's what it is. Is what it is. I like the player. When he goes to Serie A, he's going to do really well there. I have no doubt in my mind. Kind of sucks because I love him, but I'll still be watching him afterwards and I hope he does well.
Fair. That's fair. Clutch, your thoughts on Ziyech leaving? Does he know?
100 quotes.
That's funny.
Yeah, I like Ziyech too, but like Khan said, I think it's just a victim of circumstance. Unfortunately, don't play the system that would require for him to be actually good. I think he needs something built around him, and we're not going to do that for a guy as his age. So unfortunate, but I think that's how it goes.
There you go. Fair play. And yeah, I mean, there's danger. Both Azpilicueta and Alonso will be out the door. Give me all the danger. I mean, the only situation in which I'd want Aspi to stay is if we keep a back three and we just want to, have a bit of extra options. I would still prefer to keep him than not keep him. But Alonso, man, mate, I'd rather play Tuchel himself at wing back than Alonso. Do you know what I mean? So, please just go away. I never want to see you again, really. Thank you for the nice free kick goals and that, but it's enough. It's more than enough. But I mean, do we think that could actually be wrapped up reasonably soon? I mean, today Barcelona announced that they finally signed Christensen. They've took them this long to even sign a free agent.
Yeah, I don't know, man, because like everything's centered around Barca at the moment with Chelsea, isn't it? Like, what fee are they going to pay us? Like, what fee do we agree on? I mean, Aspi still hasn't announced his future as far as we know, whether he actually is 100% wants to go. But yeah, I don't really know how long it's going to take because Barca are just not trustworthy, which is kind of worrying because I just have a feeling it could drag on and then, maybe he stays, which would be awful. But
because that's the problem. Back to the bullying with Barcelona earlier. I kind of want to bully Barcelona with Alonso and just say, we're asking 30 million euros and like, nothing you can do about it. And hold them to it until August 31st. But if they then don't pay it, I'd just rather give him to them for free. Just be focused on
you can't bully Barcelona with Alonso. It just doesn't work that way. The leverage is on them.
Anyone, but
we want him gone. They want him. There's really just at that point, how much do we want him gone more than they want him? I'd pay Barcelona $5.
Yeah, there you go. Fair play. Sorry, I was just reading this comment here by Adar saying, all of last year, Alonso has been on a PR campaign telling us about how much he appreciates and loves Chelsea. Unrequited love. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I like, you know what? No hard feelings. Do you know what I mean? No hard feelings. But you're just not very good. And I like good players at my football club. So just shush, go away. But yeah, any other big news that I haven't spoken about? I mean, Christensen, thoughts? We don't have Lewis here, but anyone crying that he's gone?
Not really, man. Not really.
Do tears of joy count?
Nope. Well, I
don't mean to be rude, but like, he's a player that I don't care. Like, if he stays, don't care. If he leaves, I don't care. He's like one of those so uninspiring. That makes it. I don't think he's a bad player, but
he just does a job, doesn't he? It's always good to remember the good times, though. Like, I never forget the Champions League final performances. Like, big ups for that. Like, because he could have crumbled massively, and we would have.
Yeah, true.
But
He just turned into Danny Phantom like the last month of the year. Just disappeared. Didn't know where he went. So
Yeah.
at that
To
point,
be
I
fair,
I
how
haven't
could I
heard the
care?
name Danny Phantom in a long time, I'm telling you.
That's my show. As a kid, that was my show.
It's a good show, to be fair. Can't knock Danny Phantom. But yeah, I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap this up. Preseason has started, only with a few players there, but Big Ruben is there, so who else matters? Ben Chilwell in training, of course. But yeah, Thomas Tuchel has returned. Let's hope we get some signings done by next week. That would be nice, because that's when we're flying out to the US for big pre-season tour. But yeah, we're going to wrap this up for the time being. I hope to see you guys again very, very soon. If you're still here, number one, I appreciate you very much. Number two things I'd love to ask from you. Number one, please subscribe right now. Just do it. All right? Have you done it yet? No. Just do it, I said. All right? Just subscribe. We want 15,000 subscribers, and I'm sure there's a few of you here that have not subscribed yet. So just one click of a button. And if it turns out you're fuming and you subscribe, you can still just unsubscribe later. But for now, just subscribe, okay? And smash the like button for me. That'd be very much appreciated. And please do follow all my three wonderful guests. Check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com. Follow Con on Twitter and follow Cludge on Twitter. And, of course, follow Pice on Twitter as well. But yeah, links are down in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards. And we'll see you next time.